You have to feel a little bit sorry for the old Seat Leon. I mean, mechanically it's virtually identical to a Volkswagen Golf, but its German cousin always seems to be more popular with the car buyers. This is the 4th generation and it's the latest model. And does it finally have the talent to gazump the Golf? Well, that's what we're going to be finding out over the course of this review. But before we get started, why not subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel? And while you're at it, please do click on the bell icon to turn on notifications. That way, you'll always be automatically informed whenever a new CarGurus UK video goes live. Looking at the latest Leon, it's clear it's related to previous versions of the car, although it has sharper, angular, funkier styling, especially the rear lights that span right across the rear end, bringing it bang up to date. And that's even the case with this lower spec SE Dynamic. If you go for the sportier FR, there's extra styling bits that make it sharper still. In terms of size, it's very similar to the car it replaces and is also very similar in size to most of its rivals. The boot, for instance, has 380 litres of space, which is about the same as the vast majority of the Leon's rivals. Bear in mind though that many of these cars give you a movable boot floor to level out both the load lip and the step in the floor when the rear seats are folded, but the Leon doesn't. Where the Leon does have the edge over most of its rivals, however, is rear seat space because, okay, headroom is about the same, however, legroom is plentiful, even for people who are 6 foot. I'm 5'4½", so don't normally have an issue with leg and headroom. However, adult passengers will be able to travel in the Leon very comfortably. Well, 2 people will, 3 will be a bit of a squeeze, but then that's about average for a car in this class anyway. The dashboard layout is very minimalist, as is the fashion these days, with physical buttons and dials being replaced by icons and menus on the touchscreen system. In the entry-level SE car, this screen measures 8.25 inches, but all other versions get this bigger 10-inch one, along with a digital instrument panel instead of conventional dials. The graphics are sharp and quick, and as touchscreens go, it is relatively easy to use. The only thing we would say is some of the icons are a little ambiguous, so you're not entirely sure what they are, so you can get a little bit lost. And a lot of people find touchscreens are a little bit distracting to use while on the move because your eyes are off the road for such a long time. Otherwise though, life is pretty rosy up here. There is plenty of adjustment in the seat, and I can do height here, as well as in the steering wheel, so you should be able to find a comfortable driving position relatively easily. There's also great visibility all round in all directions. You also get plenty of storage, so we've got some large door bins, 2 cup holders, a little bit of storage here, a really deep bucket of storage here, which on the FR version actually has a lid, and unfortunately the bananas are still on furlough, so we will demonstrate the glove box with Seat's rather useful handbook instead. The Leon also has most of its rivals matched for interior quality. There's some decent materials and some solid assembly going on. But if you're expecting it to be as posh and as plush as a Volkswagen Golf, then think again, because a lot of the plastics are harder, less appealing. The interior is also a little bit monotone in its style, so not quite as fancy as a Golf inside. Let's see what it's like to drive though. Can it beat the Golf on the road? Let's kick off the driving impressions with the engine, and the most popular one, the one that most people will buy, is fitted to the car that we're testing today. And we can see why, because it's a 1.5 litre petrol, it's got 128 brake horsepower, and although it feels a little bit hesitant below 1500 RPM, above that it's actually quite strong and feels quick enough. And if you really push it, then you can get quite a good turn of speed, and it settles nicely at motorway speeds as well, although what we would say is at 70 miles per hour you do hear quite a lot of road noise. There's enough compliance in the suspension to keep things reasonably civilised too. There's definitely a firm edge to the ride, so you do feel the lumps and bumps beneath you, although the majority of them are smoothed out enough for it to feel a pretty comfortable ride, although not quite as cosseted as a Volkswagen Golf. What it does do better than the Golf though is get you through a set of bends more quickly and sharply. The taut-feeling suspension keeps body roll in check, and with responsive, well-weighted steering, the nose of the car is keen to dive into corners, and that makes it quite good fun to drive. If you buy one of the Sporty FR versions, you get lowered sport suspension, which makes the car feel even more agile. The only downside with that is that the firm ride is firmer still, and for some people that will just be a little too much. We always recommend that you try before you buy, but with the Leon FR, we'd say that's a necessity. So, back to our initial question, does the Mark IV Seat Leon finally have enough to take on the mighty Golf? Well, it depends what you're looking for. If you're after comfort, refinement and classiness from your family hatchback, then the Golf is still a better bet. However, if you place more value on style, sportiness and interior space, then the Leon arguably does a better job. It'll also save you a big chunk of cash because it's priced more in line with rivals such as the Ford Focus and Vauxhall Astra. While the Seat Leon still has its distinct character over the Volkswagen Golf, it's never been closer in terms of all-round ability, so it is a really good choice. We'd love to know if you agree with our verdict on the Seat Leon, so please do tell us in the comments below, and remember to like and subscribe as well. And browse our channel for more new and used car reviews, and to find a great deal from a top-rated dealer on your next car, you can always head over to cargurus.co.uk.